right, man. Set him up, man. Oh my goodness, big priest. I know y'all got the national convention going on, man. We gotta touch the tree. You know what I mean? And I won't get a hold of God's unchanging hand because he helped Joshua fight the battle of Jericho. He helped Daniel get out the lion's den. He helped get out the island. Glory. Glory be to God. Hallelujah. Shut the bosa, shut up on the hand. Help me, Jesus. Hey, Pastor, man, cut out all that foolishness, man. Get up off your daggone knees, man. Oh man, big priest, where's my shoe? Where's my shoe? Big priest, you are something. I guess you're okay with Trump being in office, huh? You're gonna learn today. God don't care about your vote out. Not my Jesus. He gonna want me to stay 10 toes down. That's right, on Tuesday, November 5th. To God be the glory. Well, Jesus is not God, man, but he is the only one that we're supposed to set over us. But you choose to prove time and time again that you got no king but Caesar. If you don't do something there, that last Caesar is going to be a tyrant. And you heard him say this is going to be the last election. That daggone stage assassination is going to make him a martyr. You see the people wearing bandages on the air. Oh, Father God, in the name of Jesus, touch the minds of the people, Lord God. To take the bandages off the ears and give them ears to hear, Lord God. Touch Biden's mind. I rebuke Alzheimer's. I rebuke the trick of the enemy. I rebuke... Pastor, man, you got to go. Man, God ain't hearing your prayers, and I ain't trying to hear that either, man. And as for y'all, man, y'all check out Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 15, man. We ain't supposed to be setting no stranger over us, and our king's supposed to be of our own nation, a righteous man, you know what I mean? We ain't supposed to be out here choosing no lesser of two evils. God don't want us to choose any evil. Get in class, ISUPK online, or check us out, Wilmington, Delaware, 1232 North King Street, or in Smyrna, Delaware, 202 North DuPont Highway, man. Shalom.
When I teach, you don't take me serious. Maybe because you don't understand, but I'm learning milk scriptures.
Pretty soon, what I'm saying will begin to make sense. I can break down the more heavier scriptures. Before you know it,
I'll be confounding your pastor and anybody else that claims they know this Bible. All because of milk.
Right.
That's right. ISUPK milk scriptures. It does the body good.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, see me one more time, boy.
Believe that meeting some slut online is the same as having another wife. I was young too in the past. I remember being super young thinking, well, sure, I'm married to Cookie over here. This is Cookie. I married her. And this is how you know when you're doing it, right? This is how brothers do it. They go beat the hoe and have sex with her, right? And then as soon as the sex is over, they go, yeah, you know you're my wife now. Yeah. Yeah, we married. Oh, yeah, I see I'm Israelite. He's right here on my shoulder. And the hoe go, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, I forgot to tell you. Yeah, my name is actually Bakar, and we married now because sex is marriage in the Bible. And the hoe goes, I don't know what the hell you talking about, Timothy. And you go, you don't want to be married to me? All right, then. All right. I tried to tell you. Who are you fooling, man? Who do you think you fooling? God? The Lord sees what you did. The Lord sees that you knew this woman would not stay with you. And so you just tell her you're an Israelite after you have sex, knowing that she is not a woman that will ever be an Israelite and will respect it. And so you know she's going to leave you. And let me tell you what some of you dummies don't know. Some of those hoes, you're going to say, yeah, I'm an Israelite. She's going to go, really? What is that about? Tell me all about it, because I'm staying with you, and I'm keying your car, and I'm cutting all your clothes up, and you my husband. And you're gonna be like, what? You staying? That's gonna shock you, because that whole Cookie gonna be like, you an Israelite? What is that? You know what? I'm staying with you. Tell your other wife about me. Matter of fact, I'll call her. I'm gonna tell your other wife about me because you married Cookie today. When am I getting my Hebrew name? When am I getting this? And the Cookie is going to stay with you. and call your other wife on the phone and tell her that now you married to Cookie, you're waiting on your Hebrew name, and you're going to go, damn, this ain't what I thought I was getting myself into.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find. Well, then there must be some magic clue inside these gentle walls. 'Cause all I see is a tower of dreams, real love bursting out of every scene. We're gonna fill our house with happiness, but we'll smother the blues with tenderness. There's room for you, room for me, for gentle hearts and opportunity. It's the bigger love of the family.
All right, Shalom, Lord in Christ. This is the Israelite School and Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana. And since 1969, we have been teaching so-called Blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans the truth about the world, the Bible, and every single thing around us, whether it be the mind, the heart, the body, the soul, the spirit. We teach the truth in here. Tonight, we'll be covering the Brotherhood class. That's tonight's class on Tuesday. I appreciate everybody coming in. I'll get to the Most High in Christ. I'll get to the comments soon, and we're going to start the class. So tonight we're going to talk about how movies and TV, and amongst other things, dictate in our minds how we treat our brothers, and how the perception of certain things are completely different than what they actually are. A lot of the times we'll see on the internet and various other things, a lot of, what's it called? It's a conspiracy theory, right? But we don't have to do that in here, because not only do we have the scriptures, we can just do our research. In the palm of our hands, we have devices that can look up different things. You just have to be good enough to vet the information and know what is misinformation, what's actual information. I'll just read a quick blurb to substantiate some of the stuff I'm saying from the Atlantic when we talk about movies. So I'm gonna read this real quick. It says, how the CIA hoodwinked Hollywood. Since its inception, the agency has wooed filmmakers, producers, and actors in order to present a rosy portrait of its operations to the American public. So it's talking about what the CIA does. So that's perception. So when you're viewing movies, or you're viewing things about war, espionage, and spies, the CIA has worked within Hollywood to change the Americans' views or the world's views on their operations. It plainly says it in an article. So that's not a conspiracy theory. When in reality, you have that particular agency doing a ton of evil things within the world. So let me start off by having Officer Lockerab, if you could you hold Proverbs 4:24?
Oh,
I want to go ahead and read something, because not only does the movies have a effect on our perception, but it also has an effect on the subconscious mind. This is an article. Messiah Christ. This is an article that kind of elaborates on that. So I'll just read the AI overview. I'll get to the article, and then we'll get to the related verse. It says the themes and imagery of movies can indeed influence our subconscious mind. So when you see a movie, there's themes and things within that movie that can influence what you actually think without even knowing that it had an effect on you. Has there ever been a brother, you're watching a funny movie or an action movie, the movie is great, and all of a sudden you see two men kissing in the movie? Has that ever happened?
Okay.
And the movie you never knew was going to show, two burly bearded men, tonguing each other down, pause. But you wonder why they're putting that in movies. And without a border or a hedge around your mind and your heart, you don't necessarily become, an LGBT member because you saw that image. But over time, those images begin to wear down your barrier, and you begin to say, you know what? I ain't got no problem with that lifestyle. If they want to live that, they can live that, even though the Lord said something different. In your mind, they keep showing you these things, and over time, it becomes normalcy. I'll continue with the article. It says, films convey powerful messages, both both intentionally and unintentionally, and can shape our perceptions and behaviors. Even our behaviors can kind of be molded by what we see. How many times are you going to see something before you might actually repeat what the person's saying? Like, there's something that just popped out of my mouth because I saw it too many times on a meme on Instagram. I don't know if y'all ever heard the term "on bro." Yeah, so when somebody asks a brother a question and he might be lying, the meme is saying he'll say "on bro" to get him to believe. Like, you see something enough time and it affects your behaviors. That's just a small example. I'll continue. This influence can occur through various mechanisms, including classical conditioning, which is a psychology term, which over time something you're conditioned to do, and then the release of emotions and the activation of primal instincts. Outside of movies, if you look at the news, how many times can they show a Black person committing crimes before? In the back of our minds, subconsciously, we're thinking all Black men are criminals. If I could, before I get to the article, if you could you read Proverbs 4:20, and then I'll read a little bit of that article.
Come. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 20. My son, attend to my words, incline thine ear unto my sayings.
So this is saying for us to hearken unto the voice of the Lord. Of course, we're going to tell you the laws, the statutes, and commandments. If you know the laws, the statutes, and commandments, there's going to be a hedge around your mind, which in the Bible they mention as the heart. Continue.
Come. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart.
Right. So that's telling you to keep the laws, the statutes, and commandments in the midst of your heart. But what that means is in the midst of your mind. We should always know, even though we see something on social media, we know not to go against what the Lord said because we have that on our hearts. We have that on our minds. Can you read that one more time? That was verse 23 you got to?
Salaki.
Okay, Salaki, you can keep reading it.
Come. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart.
Right.
For they are life unto those that find them.
So the laws, the statutes, and commandments are life to those that find them. The laws, the statutes, and commandments tell us how we should treat our brother.
Right.
If we know how to treat our brother, then we'll have life. We'll have less and less and less situations to where we have brothers unaliving each other, brothers sleeping with each other's wives. Continue.
Come. And health to all their flesh.
Right.
Keep thy heart with all diligence.
That means protect your mind with all diligence. That means to make sure that you have a guard on what is being perceived by you. Continue.
For out of it are the issues of life.
We're going to talk about some of those issues of life because I have various examples of individuals that just don't know how to go through these scriptures and protect their minds. All right, let me get a little bit of that article. Shalom. All right. So this is an article by Psychology Today, and it says, do TV and movies impact real world behaviors? And I'll just read some of the key points in the beginning of the article. It says TVs and movies can shape diverse behaviors, from encouraging purchases to family planning decisions. You have people raising their family off of what they're seeing off of shows, TVs, and movies.
Right.
You have people having interactions with their brother and their sisters of the flesh based off of TVs, movies, and the news. And these are all things that are perceived and all things that are shown to us by other nations. Other nations are getting the opportunity to depict us how they want. They get to depict us as Pookie that does drugs on the corner. They get to depict us as, matter of fact, some of you might be too young for this, but what's the brother's name from New Jack City?
That's Pookie.
Pookie?
Yeah.
Okay, Mosan, I just wanted to make sure. They get to depict us as right. Well, what was
Nino Brown?
Yeah, Nino Brown. There we go. They get to depict us as these things. In a lot of movies, you don't see a black neighborhood with a black superhero in it. Like that's something that's going to be rare. You might get what, Meteor Man, Blank Man, something comic relief that basically focuses on just the comedy behind it and still is an over feminization of the black man. It says scholars such as Albert Bandura and Christina Beccari have applied psychology theory to media content. Media content has been shown to influence behavior in diverse contexts and within different populations. That's why we need to understand the scriptures, and we need to be diligent in keeping our hearts when it comes to the laws and statutes and commandments. Right. All right. I don't need to read fully into the article, but from those key points, you can get what it's saying. Let's get, if I could, let me get Matthew 1:21.
Okay.
Because we'll talk about a little bit of the subconscious themes that are in movies. And there's two movies that came to mind that I saw, and without being in the ISUBK, I really wouldn't have understood completely what was even being shown to me in these movies. So you have movies like Man of Steel, which is Superman. And then you have the movies, the Transformer movies. So I'll go ahead and read what they have to say about the Superman movie and the overall theme of it and how that applies to us today. So in the Superman movie, it says, in many depictions of Superman, he prioritizes saving Earth over his own planet, over his own dying planet, Krypton. So what this is doing subconsciously is it's showing you how to throw your people away and give another people a chance. How many times have you heard Black people in America say that they are choosing, even though America has had us in slavery, even though they've treated us so racist, they are choosing to stand with America because of its potential.
Right.
When the potential is literally to unalive us all based on its history, right? We have Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans till this day that will choose Donald Trump unknowingly, and he's going to send them out of the country with the first chance he gets. And a part of it, and it's not only, a lot of it is whitewashing, white supremacy, and the hatred of ourselves, but a lot of it is happening because of our subconscious minds. Movies like I said, like Superman and the Transformers. It says this decision, and we're still talking about Superman, is often based on a complex mix of factors, including his connection to his Earth, his connection to Earth, his responsibility to protect its inhabitants, and his faith and potential for Earth to be a better place for his race and others. The potential for Earth to be a better place. When the Earth is an evil place, even in the movies, you got people destroying everything, but Superman chose, in the movies we're talking about, the theme is for him to choose this planet over his own. Black people, we grow up in America, and since we don't have a sense of who we are as a people, we'll say we are Americans. You got a lot of Black people who want to throw their blackness away. They'll say, don't even call me an African American. I'm just an American. Let me read a little bit about the Transformer movie. It says, in many iterations of the Transformer story, and these are two different movies with the same thing, different characters, different styles of showing you what the movie's about. People might watch one and not even like the other, but best believe they're showing you the same things. They're showing you how to throw your people away and how to, be with the United States. They're showing you how to be with America, because these movies, they take place in America. They show you that Superman, Optimus Prime, have their own people. They're from their own world, but they chose this way. Even though this world is destructive, even though this world has turned its back on Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans and destroyed us, Black people, just like these characters and just like these themes, have thrown their own out. If I could, before
Yeah, so basically what you're telling us is that these movie programs are programming us to not have brotherhood? Is that what you're
damn
saying?
right, absolutely. And that's what I was absolutely going to get to. And that's an excellent point. If you could read John 15, matter of fact, I'm sorry, Matthew 1 and 21, if you could read that first.
Oh, come. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son.
So this is speaking about Mary bringing forth Yahushua Mashiach, which the world so ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And because of the image of Jesus Christ, we don't have a knowledge of how to even treat our own people. We see a white man and have no reverence for our people. But in this scripture, it's saying that she's going to have a son and continue.
And thou shalt call his name Jesus.
Right.
For he shall save his people from their sins.
Who were Jesus's people?
The 12 tribes of Israel.
The 12 tribes of Israel. So if we look at, matter of fact, let me get that for you now. I'll get that for you right now. If we get that right now, and you can read that scripture from the top one more time.
Come. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
This is literally in the New Testament, right?
That's right.
When we talked about Proverbs 4, 20 and 23, and we talked about how we need to keep our minds and we need to guard our minds and be diligent. Things like this, reading the scriptures and understanding the law would keep us from falling prey to themes and movies. Right. It would keep us from falling prey to the news, and we would still know how to treat each other. But when we don't have that, we have many situations, which I'm going to bring up. But one of the things that has helped the oppressor so greatly in destroying us is replacement theology. This literally says he's going to save his people. I'm going to read loosely what replacement theology is. Because even though this says his people, Christianity would have you believe that there's no longer the Israelites that are going to be saved by Christ during his return. It's every single nation on earth. Let me read what replacement theology is. It says replacement theology is a theological doctrine that holds that the church has replaced the Jewish people as God's chosen people. So even though it says Jewish people, it's talking about the Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are Israelites. We're talking about Israelites. It used the term Jewish, but it's talking about Jews, whether that be the northern or the southern kingdom, that's both. It says, essentially, it asserts that the established covenants and promises made to Israel are now fulfilled and through the Christian faith. It says nothing about that in the scriptures. It literally says he is coming to save his people from their sins. It doesn't say all nations. It doesn't say all peoples over all of the earth. It says his people. But we see things that are in movies. We see images, and we end up treating each other like trash. We throw each other away. We in the ISUBK, we mentioned the ugly doll test, right? Where children have been given a choice on which doll they're going to choose. They choose the white doll. That is the subconscious programming to get us to hate each other and have no regard for each other. If I could, let me get John 15:12 through 14. So I'm gonna reread a little bit more of what it's explaining about some of these movie themes, but they're both pretty much the same with different movies. It says, in many iterations of the Transformer story, Optimus Prime does choose to prioritize Earth's survival over his own world. This is showing you the hero is throwing away his people. How does that not affect us subconsciously? There's people that have never ever thought to look at what they're showing us in movies. We spoke a little bit earlier how, gosh, I know you just got here, about how you'll be watching a movie that you like, and then all of a sudden you have two burly men kissing each other in a movie. You're like, yo, how does that have anything to do with this movie? You're wondering, why are they showing you that? And then time and time again, you'll see in many movies, and then you're wondering, like, why did they show that? Has nothing to do with this movie. Subconsciously, they're trying to get us to accept a lifestyle or a theme. Go ahead, you got the scripture?
Yes, sir.
If you could.
John 15:12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you. Greater love hath no man.
If you could start from the top, and you got to say that with your chest, so everybody hears you.
There you go. It's John 15:12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another as I have loved you.
Right. Continue.
Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend.
For his friends. Now, who is Christ actually taught? Like, so is that what app are you reading from? You reading from the Bible app?
Yes, sir.
What color is that in?
Red.
It's in red. Those are Christ's words. In the scriptures before that Officer Lackarob read, in Matthew 1:21, Christ was foretold to come to save his people from their sins. So you know he's talking about the Israelites. This is saying no greater love does a man have, and I'm summarizing it, than to lay his life down for his friends. So Christ is talking about an Israelite laying down his life for his friends. But in the movies, instead of showing us what brotherhood is, like Christ is talking about, they're talking about just casting your people off and saving a whole entirely different people. Not only a different race of people, a whole different world of people. These are very strong themes. I won't get into the specifics. I don't want to bore y'all with all the nerdy stuff as far as the themes in the movie. But in both movies, in the Superman movies and the Transformer movies, many other different movies, they show you how the hero is forsaking his people. They show you how the hero is against his own and for a different race, nation, or world of people. If I could, let me get if you could hold Hosea 3:4. Even if you don't watch these type of movies like science fiction, you still got the hood movies like New Jack City. You still got Carlito's Way. They show us how not to treat each other, and then we see it so many times, it just gets in our subconscious mind. When I go to different cities, I'm surprised if I'm treated, from a stranger that looks like me with politeness. I was thrown back when I went to Atlanta because there's a sense of Southern hospitality. I'm not used to that, being from East Coast up north. I'm not used to that. We don't really have that type of brotherhood in the Black community outside the ISUPK because we're conditioned otherwise. Like I said, we see different images of each other. We have different themes across social media that say it be your own, this, that, and the fourth. And really, just like the CIA shows a great depiction of us, or excuse me, themselves and how they operate in movies, which is a lie, they show us as evil people. The United States government shows us on the news as monsters, goblins, gremlins. So how do we treat each other? We look, if you can't see a value in something, you're going to treat it like trash, right? You wouldn't throw a $100 bill in the trash, but you would throw a receipt in the trash. If you feel something is not worth anything, you're going to throw it in the trash. But what if that receipt is a winning lottery ticket? You wouldn't treat that like trash because it's worth millions and billions of dollars, right? But we're shown as just a receipt that has no value. But when you look at the oppressor, they're shown as a winning lottery ticket. That's what they're shown as. If you could read Hosea chapter 3, verse 4.
Come. This is the book of Hosea, chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king.
So this happened over and over again, where different people ruled over us, even as late as now. Donald Trump, Joe Biden, continue.
And without a prince, and without a sacrifice.
Right. So this is before Christ came back. When it specifically says that, continue.
And without an image.
Without an image. If you look at today's images, like I said, they're terrible. But if you look at back in the day, you can find paintings of us that look like royalty. And then you'll see the oppressor is shown as literally a devil.
Right.
I have books from the Harvard University Press that I've shown in class before that show the oppressor as the Antichrist. But now when you look at different things, you'll see the hero, if it's dealing with something spiritual, the hero is shown as something like bright and light, like the skin, not the clothing. The skin is shown as something light and bright. But the evil entity is shown as something dark. Like the skin is something dark when you see that. And these are images. And these are things that are just pressed into our subconscious. So why wouldn't I treat my brother like some trash when I see him on the street? Why wouldn't I put my hands in my pockets and clutch on something that I have when I have to pass a group of my own people, when I see constantly on movies and the news? I don't get to see my people shown as kings, as literal princes riding horses, and as Sir Lancelot. I don't get to see my people constantly in a seat of power. I get to see them as what's that boy's name? Franklin. Yeah, Franklin Saint. That's how I get to see my people. I get to see, a whole bunch of 4 extras over the internet on various white people's platforms. So if I'm in the world and I gotta pass a whole bunch of black people with tattoos all over and disheveled hair and beards, why wouldn't I clutch on something that I got on my waist to make sure if somebody says something to me wrong, that I can't, address them as such. We are constantly shown subconsciously how we should wrong our brother. And that's why we should have the scriptures in mind to guard us from those images that the oppressor has for us. If you could read verse 5 of that one more time.
It's lucky, sir, just to add on.
If you could.
Even just something that little bit forgiving your brother, like 20% little
right.
Bit. For me, a lot of our brothers and sisters, they don't be quick to do that anymore.
Right.
For me, it's little grudges that break up. Right. It's a scripture to tie into that.
Yeah, if you right. No, if you want to read that scripture, since you made that point, we'll get back to that. When what you're saying is heavy, why would you want to forgive somebody you have no worth or value when you see that? You don't think that person can help or save your life. You're gonna forgive them for what? Because in your mind, they're just gonna further mess up your life. They're nothing. They're trash. It like some black people treat other black people like they're literally a rat that has, just got into their house and they're a pest that they have to get rid of. It's a lucky.
So, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 19. The book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 19. It says, a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. And their contentions are like the bars of a castle.
That is a perfect brotherhood scripture. What do the scriptures actually say when somebody offends you? What do the scriptures say? Go ahead.
It's like go to him and him alone.
Right. You want to win that brother back. We're going to need each other. We're going to need brotherhood. I see prices of everything going up. I keep hearing stories about oppressors building underground caverns and caves and mansions because they seem to know something the average black person doesn't. We looked at TV and saw what are those called? Those preppers, doomsday preppers. We looked at that as a novelty. That's something that's in the scriptures. It says that we are going to pull them from their hiding places. So something's going to happen to where they run underground or run to a cave. Do you think that rich people are spending like literal? There's a lady that's out right now talking about a story. Like I've heard of millions of dollars on underground mansions for people once something bad happens. I heard about trillions. I heard the government got invested in it and spent trillions. Aren't we going to need each other? It shouldn't be as hard for me to win my brother over, harder than an actual city. That shouldn't be a thing, especially with everything that we've gone through as a people. Every single thing we've gone through, even seeing our brothers being sexually assaulted on buck-breaking farms. We should think back to those times and look at stuff like that and say, man, I'm gonna choose my brother. I'm not choosing no enemy over my brother, because that's what they essentially are. That's what the Lord describes them as, enemies. But if I could, sir, you've heard of Gilly the Kid, right?
Yeah.
If you could you bring up a picture of his face? I want to play a couple of videos of him. And even though he's not, to my understanding, a brother, because I believe he's like, Eritrean or something. He's like Ethiopian Eritrean or something. A lot of brothers echo his sentiment, and a lot of brothers think he's a brother. So he has a platform on various social media outlets called $1 Million Worth of Game. So whatever he says is gold. He's rich. He's got charisma. He got away with his words. I hear his cousin say he's got the spectacular vernacular. So when he has somebody's ear, it's going to stick. And people are going to treat their brothers as such. I'm going to go ahead and get, let me see. Hopefully I'm not erasing all my stuff. Yeah, I'm over here erasing my stuff. Let me go back to it. All right.
It's a lot of research.
Yeah. If you could.
Yeah, like it's also crazy too. It's heavy what you bringing up too, because like 1 second, the $1 million worth of game, they be trying to give game to the youth on saying stay out of the streets, but then on the next second, they promoting a street rapper who's talking about killing themselves.
Talking about sleeping with somebody's wife.
You feel me? So it's kind of like contradictory. Yeah, it's like
Right. And the video I'm about to show not show, but the what I'm about to play, because I won't play the video. I don't want us to get flagged or anything like that. It's Gilly talking about Black Lives Matter. Now, for those of you who are, in the ISUPK are wise enough, you know that the Black Lives Matter movement was a farce. It was done to us by our oppressors to garner money and votes and further destroy our community, because it was run by the LGBTQ movement, and it was also run by, I believe, George Soros, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, it was ran by some rich liberal that ended up stealing all the money. At the time, we didn't know that. When the term Black Lives Matter was being said, those who were genuine had it as a thing to say against cops that were killing Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans in our neighborhoods, mainly Black people. It was Black Lives Matter. But let's hear what Gilly had to say about his brother, or seemingly who we thought he was a brother, even though he wasn't. But at the time, this is what he had to say.
You always giving up game. Why you don't get no game on Black Lives Matter? Because I don't get to that shit, nigga.
Gilly, you always giving up game, but why aren't you talking about the issues that Black people are going through and how Black people are being unalived by white cops? Why aren't you talking about that? His response is to say, I don't get into that SHIT. I'll continue.
All lives matter. They don't get from the white, Black people.
He said all lives matter. I don't care if you're blue, black, purple, whatever. Go ahead. Yeah. You have a platform. Let's say if this was an actual brother, you have a platform to be a brother. And mind you, this is a minute ago. We're going to see how the pendulum swung in a different direction. I got the receipts. You have the platform to say, yo, black people, let's remember how we treat each other and let's stop that. Because right now we can't have enemies on two fronts. We can't have enemies of each other and of the people who police our neighborhoods. He said, I don't F with that ish. All lives matter. He said that, John, like it was those people that wear the black American flags with the blue line on it. He said all lives matter. That's what Gilly the Kid said. I'm gonna run that back just a little bit because it's only a minute long.
Because I don't get into that shit, nigga. All lives matter, nigga. I don't give a fuck if you white, black, purple, brown, tangerine.
What Superman say? To hell with my people. I'm gonna save Earth, all people. That's what Superman said. What Optimus Prime said. To hell with my planet. I'm gonna save all people. This is the thing that gets into our subconscious mind. So whether you even see the movies or your subconscious takes on to the themes, you still have people like this with large platforms that are street savvy and know how to talk a big game. And they'll say things like this on a platform to get you to be unbrotherly to your brother. All lives matter, but we're the ones who have the most children that are in the abortion clinics. You can't speak about that. All lives matter when you are more than 4 times likely to be unalived by a police officer. But he's saying all lives matter. Let's continue.
Nigga, all lives matter. Y'all know the niggas go out there head first, tell these motherfucking white people black lives matter. But my motherfucking black life didn't matter to the nigga that tried to execute me.
My black life didn't matter to the Salagi. I don't mean to laugh, but he said my black life didn't matter to the person that tried to execute me. If you live around a whole bunch of black people, crimes from your own people are going to be committed against you, especially if you live under an immoral ruler who has resources tied up in everything else but what's supposed to help you. Salagi. Oops. I didn't hit the wrong video. I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna skip forward. Like, do you hear white people saying, yo, to hell with white people, you know, Billy Bob slept with my wife, or you know, Meth Head Eddie is the one who stole my catalytic converter. They don't go on social media and do things like this. But we got ignorant people like Gilly the Kid, who may not even be an Israelite, but looks like one of us, saying these type of things. And people who hold any weight on what he's saying, they gravitate towards this. That theme is in their mind to trade in their own people for something else. All lives matter. You know what people are really thinking when they say that are black? What they're really thinking is, my people are worthless. White people are worth something. White people get money. Black people are poor. Man, to hell with black people. That's what's really being thought. That's what's really being thought. Let's continue.
Head first, tell these motherfucking white people black lives matter.
Y'all want me to jump out there head first. You want me to speak about black problems when some black man tried to kill me? That's what Gilly the Kid is saying. That's what Gilly the Kid is saying. Let's continue. Matter of fact, I just want to make a point. The Pharisees and the Sadducees was trying to get Christ killed the entire time. Did he give up on all black people and say all lives matter? Did he say, you know what? The Romans ain't over here in Jerusalem trying to kill me right now. Man, the hell with black people. The hell with Hispanics. I'm not jumping in the head first and getting on the cross for you. We don't need people with a voice like this to have any type of weight in our community, because it's going to result in us treating each other unbrotherly.
Right.
That's what it's going to have a result of. I'll continue. Because even though it's a message on how to break this down, it's still entertaining because of the way he talks. but y'all might not get the message outside of the school because you don't have everything lined up like we do in here in the ISUBK with the scriptures. I'll continue.
Didn't matter to the nigga that tried to execute me, to the nigga that shot me in my motherfucking wrist.
Yo, Gilly the Kid was out here robbing people. Gilly the Kid was out here robbing people. Did what he's not mentioning is, did your lifestyle attribute to how other people were acting towards you? If you go and offend another brother by sleeping with his woman, holding him up, with his with a firearm and taking his money, I heard you rapping about how you had the iron on you and everybody's face changed and nobody said a thing when you came around. But you don't think that had a result in you getting shot in the arm? What?
Look at my foot. The nigga that tried to have my mama singing it so hard to say goodbye. My black life didn't matter to that nigga. All the niggas I knew who shot my niggas. But what about my nieces and nephews? Half black, half white.
Oh man, he gotta save Esau now. What about his nieces and nephews that are half black and white? He has such a problem with saying black lives, because that to us, the people who didn't know, because back in the day, I didn't know Black Lives Matter was ran by lesbians. I didn't know it was run by some evil liberal that was just trying to steal money. I thought it was actually something that was standing up for black people. Even if there was a program that was standing up for black people, Gilly wouldn't stand for it at this point in time. Because there's no value in black people. Because a few black people, he's saying, tried to unalive him or shot him. Now, to hell with all of y'all. To hell with all y'all. All lives matter. I can't worry about planet black. I got to save planet white. I got mixed race people. All lives have to matter because the mixed kids in my family, they now have to take precedence over the black children in my neighborhood that grew up in the ghetto like me. If he's not a black person, his cousin Wallow, another famous black person, is. But his disdain towards black people and where he grew up is really coming through his pores in this. That's what's really happening. We can't be so unbrotherly to listen to Gilly the Kid and just echo these sentiments around the whole entire nation of black people. Let's finish it off.
Only 50% of their lives matter. And I understand the whole Black Lives Movement. We've been oppressed. We've been done wrong. Nigga, we do wrong to each other.
You don't understand it if you're gonna say a statement like that. You don't understand it. Look, let me find something real quick. Because if he understood it, he wouldn't be saying that. Let me see if I can find that verse. All right, so this is if somebody can read Daniel 9 and 12, because if you really understood oppression, you would know to say the right things to get blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be brothers, because nothing on earth has ever happened to black people like it's happened in any other case to any other nation. Nothing. So you don't understand. And let me see for time's sake, I might just go ahead and read it. If I could, I'll just go ahead and read it for time's sake. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9, verse 12. He said he understands the struggle, but he don't. He said he understands oppression, but he don't. If he has even though if he's not an Israelite, his cousin is, he would know for his cousin's sake and his cousin's people's sake that there's nothing on earth as terrible as it's happened to us. So why shouldn't black lives matter? Why shouldn't we say that? This is the book of Daniel, chapter 9 and verse 12. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us. This is the Most High talking about if blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans don't follow the law, statutes, and commandments, curses were supposed to happen to us. It says, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us. The people who were our leaders, he spoke against them as well, by bringing upon us a great evil, the oppression that we felt. it is a great evil. For under the whole heaven, when it says the whole heaven, it's talking about the sky. The world is under the whole heaven. It says, for under the whole heaven have not been done as hath been done to Jerusalem, or Salakia, done upon Jerusalem. So if you understood that the Most High is saying that there's not a more terrible thing that's happened to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you wouldn't open up your bald face to say, I understand, but pretty much to hell with black people. Let's play the last little bit of that. Salakia for the language. He said we do more messed up stuff to each other than anybody. How? The Most High is saying something different. The Most High is saying what has been done to us, and is talking about our oppressor, the transatlantic slave trade. Up until now, there's not been a more horrible thing that's been done to us under the whole heaven, under the whole entire heaven. So, like, let me get back to what we was going on, if I could. Was there something else you was going to read? No sweat. All right. Let me get Matthew 18 and 21 if somebody can get that for me. Because we need to guard our minds, like I said, so we can have brotherhood. Somebody got that for me? Y'all ready to read it now?
Oh, God.
What?
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me?
So this is, no sweat. This is talking about how many times should I forgive my brother? How many times? Let's use a brother being shot. You don't put yourself in that situation. And if you got sense, you will seek counsel from somebody in the ISUPK. But you don't have the attitude to hell with every black person on earth. And you're going to see Gilly the Kid, just like I thought he was a nigga just like me, which he's not. Other people thought that as well. So, like, let me see. Continue.
Come. And I forgive him till 7 times. Yahweh saith unto him, I say not unto thee unto 7 times, but unto 70 times 7. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants.
So this is talking about this is talking about forgiving your brother. Now, what Christ is going to do, and if you got your scriptures, read along, because this is a very powerful message in this. And this is for lack of a better word, an analogy or a parable that Christ is using on why you should forgive your brother, why you should have brotherhood. Continue.
Come. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents.
Right.
But for as much as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife, and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made.
Continue.
The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion and loosed him and forgave him the debt. So you see, you have somebody that is over this man who was owed money. And when that servant pretty much pleaded for his life and his family's life, he forgave the debt. He forgave that brother. Continue. Come. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 pence, and he laid hands on him. Put the beats on him. Beat the brakes off him. Like you owed somebody 1,000, they forgave you. Somebody owes you far less, and then you commence to whooping they behind. Where was the forgiveness at? Right. It's a lot of brothers out here that have been done dirty by other brothers, but those same brothers did something dirty to somebody else. And do you know what one of those brothers did? Because this is a situation that I'm very familiar with. They seen that brother and could have knocked his top off.
They saw him, had it set up. They know where he goes, and they said, you know what? I'm gonna just let it slide. I'm gonna leave it alone. And they didn't do it. But that same brother who somebody has done far less doesn't know how to forgive like that brother forgave him. Continue.
And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, pay me that thou owest.
You beat the brakes off him, man. You choking him. Pay me what you owe. Continue.
And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not.
He said, I'll give you all the money. Like, if you owe somebody money and they thrash you, choke you, embarrass you, and beat you up, are you thinking at that moment about giving them the money? No. But this brother was still like, yo, I'll give you the money. And instead of having mercy on a brother who he put hands on and choking and has choked, he's like, no, he was forgiven, but he didn't forgive. Continue.
And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt.
How you gonna pay the money if you in prison? Continue, Salakia.
So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told unto their Lord all that was done.
Right.
Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest.
Because you asked for forgiveness, and because you pleaded for your life and your family's life, I forgave you, and I said you don't owe me money. So now you essentially have more money. You have access to more money now because you don't even have to pay me back. Right. And you're not going to be sold in the servitude. Your family gets to stay with you. That feeling of relief that you had from a brother that treated you like a brother should have let you realize how you should have treated a brother.
That's right.
Before I say any more, we'll get to the bottom of the verse because we're going to stop at 35.
Okay. Shouldest not thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant?
Shouldn't you have forgave him like I forgave you? Continue.
Even as I had pity on thee. And his Lord was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors.
You beat the brakes off him, now you about to be tormented yourself.
Till he should pay all that was due unto him.
What you did to that brother is going to happen to you. The Lord forgave. I ain't gonna say that. Let's just read it, and then I'll elaborate.
Okay. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you.
Right.
If ye from your hearts forgive not every one his brother their trespass.
Gilly the kid is not an Israelite to my understanding. But if you would have had a little bit of sense to speak favorable, because at the end of the day, the Lord said there's not going to be a dog that's able to wag their tongue against the children of Israel. If you had spoke favorably and at least said something with your platform to uplift Black people for the condition that we're in, the Most High might have spared you in the future. I don't know exactly what's going on in Gilly's life, but when you speak against the children of the Most High, there's going to be a recompense for it.
That's right.
Go ahead. You got it.
It's like and just to tie back into that verse you just read, when you go to Matthew 7:2, it says, for with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged.
Right.
And with what measure ye meet, it shall be measured to you again.
Damn right. That is the perfect precept. We have to treat our brothers with forgiveness. You don't let somebody walk all over you. That goes for the brothers and the sisters. Sisters got to have dignity. Brothers need to be warriors, soldiers. You don't let somebody walk all over you.
Right.
But on the same hand, you don't have a destructive attitude that completely undermines the brotherhood that we're going to need in the future.
That's
You
right.
wanted to say something else?
Oh, God. And just to add on to what you're saying, too, like a lot of us, just like you were saying, we was going through the same thing. When you read the very next verse, it say, and why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but consider is not the beam that is in thine own eye.
Perfect.
You feel me? Like, so a lot of us, we done been in the same position as our brother. So why not forgive our brother for doing the same trespass that we probably did at a point in time?
Gilly is talking about all the wrong that's been done to him by blacks. But what about all the wrong that he did to blacks?
Right.
Ain't it a cycle that's continuing to happen? Let me play something else about Gilly. And when you get a chance, if you could put them back up on the screen, because I got two more videos to or two more sound bites.
As a successful black man in America, I often get reminders.
You wasn't talking that trash when you had the chance to speak up against the atrocities that was happening to black people from the police. But as a successful black man, so-called black man, Ethiopian, you're not one of us, or you're retreating. As a successful whatever you are, you get reminded because you got black skin. You kind of look like one of them. It's a little off. You look a little East Indian-ish, a little Ethiopian-ish. But to somebody that's just looking with the naked eye and they see a black man with money that's coming around, you still gonna get treated like a nigga.
And in the Shador Sanders situation,
he's talking about the NFL situation with Shador Sanders. It didn't matter when something bad was happening to a regular black person, but somebody with some money, you want to have some value on. So for a black person to have value, we have to have money. Is what I'm learning from this. You don't treat somebody based off what he's saying. You don't treat somebody good based off of them being your brother. You treat them good off them having money. That's what he's being. What's it called? When you're judging somebody off of. No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say, what's the term that's used in the scriptures when they say don't be a. It's escaping my mind right now. A favor of person. What was it called? A respecter of persons. That's what he's doing in here. You didn't know how to speak up for black people years ago, but now Shador Sanders, you're being a respecter of persons. You want to stand with him. His father's rich. The boy is going to be okay through nepotism, but that's what you want to speak about. You don't want to speak about real life racism that costs black people jobs and their lives and their livelihood, but you want to speak about Shador Sanders.
It's the reminder that you can do everything right in life. You come from a good family, you could be a good student, you could be a God-fearing kid, you could be a hard worker, you could beat the odds. Your dad could be a Hall of Fame player, and you could beat the odds. There's not too many Hall of Fame players have good kids. So you could beat the odds. You could beat, he ain't his dad. You could beat all of that growing up. But you still get a reminder that you're just a nigga, man.
What happened to that energy when people were asking you to speak out against the cops hurting blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? What happened to that energy? I'm gonna play one more because he's speaking about another rich man situation. I'm gonna play this. The sound quality's a little bad, so I'm gonna talk through it. Right now, Gilly is mad with PNC Bank. This happened, well, somebody posted it 3 days ago because they denied him cashing a check. And he's saying he's being treated wrongly because he's black. Brotherhood is seeing something happen to your brother and not waiting till it happens to you in order to speak up against it. That's what brotherhood is. If it's happening to one of us as a nation, it's happening to all of us. We should be able to speak up against it. We don't wait till our rich selves are having an issue. He wants to speak about some issue he had with a check. But when blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans were losing their lives to the police, he said, I don't get with that ish. But you talking about a check? You talking about Shador Sanders not getting picked up by a team? Did he ever get, y'all know sports better than me, did he ever get picked up? Yeah? By the Browns. Good night. Good night. We ain't gonna go into the Browns, but he still got picked up by a team. He's rich. And that's what you worried about. You're not, this man is not a real brother. I see they gonna be loud outside today. Good night. I wish y'all could see his face in this video. It's all twisted up. You can see he's upset. He's mad. You got treated like a black person after you said black lives don't matter, all lives matter. I bet black lives matter now because your black check didn't matter at PNC Bank.
Mexicans don't matter.
I ain't gonna finish going on that rant with Gilly. But if I could, let me get Mark 12 and 28. Right now, we see, Slovakia, right now we see that the country, as far as, you know, politics is concerned, is just as trash as it was when Biden was in office, right? It was trash when Biden was in office. It's going to be trash when Trump gets in office, while Trump is in office, and whoever else is next to be in office is going to be trash. You know, Hispanic people are feeling it right now. And unfortunately, you had Hispanics that were saying that they were Latinos for Trump and making a fool out of themselves. And now it's coming back to bite them. When they should have supported their brothers, because before Trump got elected, there were situations where you had Mexican brothers and sisters, Venezuelan brothers and sisters that were going to war for the United States. And when they came off a deployment out of Iraq, Iran, whatever else, Sandy, you know, death trap that they were in, they came back to find out their family was deported or they were going to be deported after fighting for our country. And you decided to stand with Donald Trump, Latinos for Trump. It was even black people on the internet talking about niggas for Trump, degrading us, degrading themselves for the enemy. Y'all got Mark 12 and 28?
Come.
It's like if you could just hold it real quick. I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this lady. Let me play her real quick. Let's see if the link will work. If it doesn't, I'll just skip to the next one. This is a lady's quote. This is on Instagram. It says, "I regret voting for Trump. Latino woman breaks down over immigration raids." You trusted the enemy. We're going to get into that, but you sided with the enemy over your brother. Like so many movies have shown us, and so many people have shown us how to side with the enemy when you could have protected yourself from that. Now you're on social media crying and you don't have a voice. None of what she's doing none of what she does matters. I'm looking at this post. This is from Baller Alert. It has 40,000 likes, 38,000 comments, and 56,000 shares. That's not going to do nothing. You just move your foolishness across the internet and across all social media platforms, and none of that matters. Let's hear what she got to say. Hispanic lady talk. They got the sad music. They playing violins. You believe some orange man in a blue suit that was for all intents and purposes, like he had the mannerisms of a loan shark. And you're wondering why? Come on, man. Salaki. Let me get if I could. Let me see if I still have it. I might have accidentally erased it in the middle of let me see if I can read. No sweat. Let me get Mark 12 and 28.
It's the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 28. And one of the scribes came and had heard them reasoning together.
Continue.
And perceiving that he had answered them well, asking him, which is the first commandment of all?
And Yahweh shall answer them, the first of all commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart.
Right. So if I could, when you love the Lord thy God with all your heart, that means that you are hearkening to his voice by following the laws, the statutes, and the commandments. Continue.
And with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment.
Right.
And the second is like.
So what he's doing, what Christ is doing, is he's taking two commandments and he's showing you that the law, every single law, statute, and commandment falls on these two. Because if you love the Lord, you're going to follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. Number two.
Namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Your neighbor is the children of thy people. If you love your neighbor like you loved yourself, you wouldn't side with Donald Trump over your people and end up crying on the internet. That's not what would happen. If you would just follow what the Most High says, then you wouldn't end up in situations like this. In Ecclesiastes 12:10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as an iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Trump has been an enemy to Hispanics. He's shown you that. Let me get one more example. And if I could, if somebody could find the verse, because I accidentally erased it. It's saying his words were like butter, or his words were smoother than oil. If we could get that. That might be Proverbs. And I'm a Psalms, the water, sir. Let me go ahead and play the next soundbite of a woman who believed in Donald Trump. I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. That's a heavy accent. This is a Venezuelan woman who's saying that she's voting for Trump. She got her arms up in the air in the video. He's groping her all on the shoulder. She's excited. She got a magazine in her hand, and she's saying she voted for Donald Trump. She is having a spiritual experience up there. She is having a political orgasm up there, talking about how she voted for the rapture. She's excited. For what? Let's continue. Second clip. She's talking about she got betrayed. Let's hear what she got to say.
Betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign.
They used us. During the campaign.
And I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign,
they lied to you, they cheated you, and they stole your time, and you don't want to make this political, and that's all it was. It was evil. It was more than political. But you're trying to be polite with your enemy and say you don't want to make it political. You turned on your people. You garnered support from more Venezuelans with that weird, yelling that you did for Donald Trump, and now you look like a fool, and you still being polite and gentle with these people.
The elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
He was not going to touch the documented people. Let's get that verse. Where's it start out at?
Psalms 55:21.
Yeah, read the first part. Well, hold on, Slacker. Let me just get there with you real quick. Psalms 55 and 21. Let's go to 20, verse 20.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 55, verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with them.
If she would have remembered Ecclesiastes 12 and 10 and never trust her enemies, she wouldn't have got up there and made that debacle. The other lady before her, she wouldn't be on social media. For all she had to do was remember, never trust your enemies. And now also be a brother and a sister to her people. Choose your people first. But instead, now you're crying on social media with literally 50 and 45,000 shares and likes and this, that, and the fourth. And our people are still getting deported. None of that matters. Those likes don't stop a brother or sister from getting deported. All you had to do was be a brother or a sister in the first place and not trust Donald Trump. We should have been taking action on how are we going to make sure that we don't get used and abused by the oppressor. Not voting for the very person that was going to destroy you. Continue. You can start at up again at verse 1.
He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his commandment. His covenant.
What did he promise them? He wasn't going to touch the documented workers. What did he promise them? He was going to get jobs. What did he promise them? How many different times has the oppressor shown you that they are going to break covenants? The Native Americans called them fork-tongued devils, right? They called them fork-tongued devils. They're speaking one way but doing peace with them. But he's putting his hand towards her people, our people, and sending them off. Y'all heard that Donald Trump is opening back up Alcatraz, right? People voted for prison in hell. That's what you voted for. Instead of sticking with your people. You arguing with members of your family for Donald Trump. But let's continue to verse 21.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter.
Everything you wanted to hear, he said. We ain't going to touch documented workers. We're going to make America great again for Latinos, for blacks, for Native Americans. I love all the people. The blacks are good. The Hispanics are good. That's what Donald Trump said. Continue.
But war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
Yo, when he drew them executive orders and knew what plan he was going to put in motion, he was telling you something completely different than what you thought was going to happen. And now you're crying. Now you want to come back to your people. But you got people on the internet are looking at you like you're a complete idiot. A complete idiot. That's all I needed from that verse. Let me step back to it. All right. Let me get John 15 and 12. If I could, Bible Kashab.
This is the book of John, chapter 15, verse 12. This is my commandment, that ye love one another,
right,
as I have loved you. Greater love have no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends.
And instead of worrying about the politician that's going to literally sell you up the river, put you in Alcatraz. What's the other prison that he opened up? It's another famous prison that Trump is opening up all the prisons. That's what's happening. We need to stick together with each other. Let me see if I could one more verse and then we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. I wanted to pull one more. What verse did you read down to?
Verse 15.
Verse 15. No sweat. That's actually where I wanted to stop. Because what we need to realize as a people is that there is no politician that's going to help us. You can look at different things. You can get distracted by movies that are giving you themes on how to turn on your people. Whether it's stuff on social media, whether it's a movie about what's his name, Franklin Saint, about selling drugs to your people, whether it's Raising Canaan, whether it's Transformers, Superman, all these movies are teaching you to do the opposite of what the scriptures are saying when they really should just be entertainment. But they have underlying themes that are destroying us. Like I always say, Zephaniah 2:1 says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. That I'm summarizing what the verse says. We don't need to gather with these people. But what we need to do is just have the wherewithal to not trust the enemy like the scriptures say. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pass the class off to the priest and officer.
All right, ISUPK security announcements. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to learn and shed themselves of the world. They need transportation, teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, they are to seek counsel from the heads. Tithe, which is a commandment, Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, these 10 in Hebrew, Ma'aishah. That's 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest funds, free will offering for a priest is not mandatory, it's whatever ones would like to donate. Upcoming holy convocations, we have the Feast of First Fruits coming up on June 8th. That's on a Sunday. Sunday, June 8th will be the Feast of First Fruits. That service will be held here and 202 North DuPont Boulevard, all right, in Smyrna, Delaware. All right, that's the Feast of First Fruits. That's the next holiday. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf, like this brother here. With that being said, men of Israel, I'm Isaac, please stand. Men of Israel, I'm Isaac Shabbat, I'm Isaac, Barak. So means you turn and give sister courtesy salute. Men of Israel, I'm Isaac Shabbat, I'm Isaac, Barak. Pastor Smith.
Oh, yeah.